That is a very bold statements that you've made. Tell us a little bit more your thinking and why you think or why you believe that our matric students can't go directly into the workplace.
Well, there are various reasons. The job market has only a very limited space for new entries. We're not really growing. Growth is down. So employers can only pick and must only pick the best. We are operating in a labor law environment that once you're employed, it is not easy to get rid of a person. So if matriculants arrive at the doorstep of an employer with matric certificates that merely state that that individual has passed with a 30 and a 40% pass rate, pass threshold, well, you're very skeptic. Employers aren't there to teach people how to read and write and do sums. That's skills that you need to have when you arrive at the doorstep of an employer. And we believe that we are very concerned that these matric results are politically manipulated to send out a good message, put us in a good light. That's not sufficient.
So what you are saying is that people who come to the workplace with a matric qualification can't read properly, can't write properly, can't add up the basic things. Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
What methodology do you use to test this?
Well, if you employ a person and you ask or require of that person to do basic things in the process of examining that person, write certain things, type certain things, do certain things, and you then realize this person do not have those basic skills.
This is certainly could be a very irresponsible statement and a gross generalization that you're making if you don't have a specific methodology that can test it.
Well, I say again, we're working in an environment where particular labor laws are governing our society, and an employer is not going to use scientific methods to determine whether a person is qualified for a job. The employer wants to know, can you do the job? First of all, there are very limited skills, technical skills with which matriculants arrive. Secondly, the administrative ability is very limited. If you have 30% in certain subjects, it indicates already that you are not sufficiently equipped in that area. South Africa's schooling system is not regarded in a good light by employers.
I'd like to interrupt you and ask you this.
Yeah.
Have you, never mind the people coming out of matric, I am still to meet anyone that I've worked with that come out of university, never mind matric, that can go into the workplace and adapt straight into a job as you would. Absolutely. It takes up to a year for a person to be schooled in that job. So again, I think that there's a certain level of misunderstanding of the role that I think that you play in schools and university.
No, absolutely. Well, the point is, in university, I was complaining that matriculants with university exemption struggle, and they have to introduce first-year programs to take them from school level to university level. The thing is, in the workplace, of course, if you walk into a workplace, you need to be taught certain skills. That I understand, but you need to have a basic skill. You need to. It's competitiveness and it's money involved. Again, we cannot teach children certain
Again, it's
skills.
very irresponsible on your part to make such a gross generalization and say that people who come out of matric in South Africa don't have the necessary skills to work into a work, to add up, to count, to spell, and that sort of thing. It's unless you have the numbers and the statistics to back that up, it's a gross generalization. I think you'd agree with me.
No, of course it's a generalization. Of course there are exceptions. What I'm saying is, matriculants finishing school, of course there are students that has that abilities, of course. What are we saying is that coming out of school, you need to start from day one to equip yourself, better your skills in order to make you ready for the job market. Employers has the responsibility to pick the best, and if an employer will only pick the best.
Yes, but they also have a responsibility to train those people. So we can't expect people to walk off the street and be out of a matric senior certificate. I certainly wasn't ready. walk straight out of matric and walk into the workplace and be ready for whatever that job may be. The employer has the responsibility to invest in their staff. Surely they do.
The employer pick the best and then train. You pick the best and then you train. You go for the best and then you train the best. Employers, there is a social responsibility on employers, but they have to look at the interest of their businesses. So you pick the best and then train the best, and then you improve on the best. If a person fails certain criteria right from the outset, well, you're not going to get work. So, of course, it's a very general statement, and we've seen there are matriculants that did extremely well, of course. But the thing is, those that did well are people who are taking responsibility of their lives. And my advice to any child now is take responsibility for your life. And, you know, if you walk into a workplace with a good attitude of, I want to learn, I think there's the greatest attribute that a prospect worker, a work seeker can have is that of an attitude of, sir, I want to learn. Because that is the biggest problem that we're having in our society.
That is the case all around the world with young people. It's not just the case in South Africa. I think we have to sometimes hold ourselves back when we criticize our own country always for people having a lack of aptitude and attitude, because young people all around the world have that same sort of problem. Also, I think it's a little bit dangerous for us to say South Africans, when they come out of matric, they are not ready to enter into the job market. Oh, wow. That in itself, I think you'd agree with me, if we don't have the numbers and we don't have the statistics, would be a little bit irresponsible.
Well, our education system does not stand in high regard in the world. Definitely not.
By whom? If you make the statement, then you should say this agency who's done this study says that our education system is not held in high regard. Again, it's a gross generalization.
Well, it is. This is not a generalization. This is a fact. Even in Africa standards, and if I say even in Africa, this is the continent in which we operate. If you go across our borders north of us, they will tell you that South Africans, we know our schooling system is in huge difficulty. We know
How do we know?
Well, our teachers are involved. Our teachers are involved in politics. Children, they don't.
But that's the case all around the world, Mr. Papenfus. Is that you have labor unions and teachers unions all around the world that are involved in these processes. We can't only knock our own country and say, oh, only South Africa, it's so bad, when it's not the case. Historically speaking, if we look at where we come from. I come from a community where there were 4 towns when I went to school. There was not one school for black people in that town. Not one. In 4 towns, not one school for black South Africans. So if you look at our legacy and where we are today, I think South Africa is a great success story.
You mean if a children has a 30% pass rate in a subject, we said that's okay, go into the work market.
We should not be hung up on the 30% pass rate, but we should look at the success and we should look at the future and what we are trying to achieve in South Africa. It's very easy for us to stand on the soapbox and try and break it all down when there are so many South Africans who are trying to build it.
So we're sitting with an employment rate of more than 37%.
These are economic factors and socio-economic factors. They have nothing to do with our education system. But my director tells me now, Mr. Papenfus, that we've run out of time, unfortunately, today. I would like us to come back and have this discussion maybe on a sort of bigger panel and a different format. And I assure you that I will give you time and we'll invite you back and we'll do this properly, because I think we've just touched the surface today. Thank you.
Fantastic.
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
That is...
Thank you.
Chief Executive of NEASA, Gerhard Papenfus, joining us today. But let's now take a quick look at what you are saying and